So yeah, season 2, episode number 10 of the Over the Hill podcast. Special guest, the man with the probably the best Instagram account that I've seen in years.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely superb. Also, definitely got one of the best record collections you'll ever see, I reckon, just from the snippets that he gives us online. The one and only DJ Vital on the podcast today. Mate, thank you so much, first of all, for listening and showing support to the podcast, but thank you for being here, man. How you doing?
No, I'm really good, mate. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, and thanks for inviting me on, obviously. But I've been listening to this. I started listening to your podcast a little while ago. I think you had Si Says on. I was the first one I listened to, who I kind of know as well.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd never listen to that. And then Wes Wynn, Spinny B, I think I listened to. Ricky D was really good as well. So I was always interested to listen to that, that ISFM.
Yep.
Because that's one of them stations, because I'm from Essex, so I never used to really hear that station, because I could pick up some of the East London stations from around this way. I could never get, because that's over west, wasn't it? So it was just good to listen to that, to hear about where it was and all the sort of different stories and everything. Yeah.
The good thing is with a lot of that stuff now is, as me and Ricky were talking about, a lot of it's actually up on YouTube. Loads of the old ice sets are up, so it's good to go back. And I mean, there's stations from East, and I live in Deep South, and I used to live in Deep South. I'm in Central now, but I never used to be able to get like Freak FM and stations like that. So it's good to be able to go back and listen to all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, you can get all the mixed as well these days, can't you? A lot of the old sets like EZ when he was on there, and sort of all the other DJs. So it's pretty, it's decent.
Yeah. So talking of old pirate radio days, and obviously you said you're from Essex. How did you get into DJing, and what were some of the early influences? Because I've got to be honest, mate. Like when you post clips up on your Instagram, literally when I tell you, like my style of house and garage, 110%. Like, so for me, I'm interested in, what was the early influences and early sounds for you, and how did you start amassing this? What's clearly a ridiculous record collection.
Right, so to be honest with you, I started off, I think, like going back to when I was at school, like when I was about 13, 14, I was into like more the hardcore sort of stuff, like, like the early hardcore, even happy hardcore. I used to buy all the tape packs, all that sort of stuff. And I started, me and my mates at school, we used to we're always swapping tapes, like, I don't know, it was like LSD and all these other DJs. And then I started going record shopping down in, because I'm from a place called Wickford, which is sort of Basildon sort of area. And I went down to Southend, they had 3 record shops down there. So I go down and after school, get a train down, it's only about 20 minutes away, start doing a bit of record shopping down there, like the 3 record shops I had. And that was what I was into to start with. And then I started getting into more the sort of drum bass jungle stuff in sort of 94, 95. And then me and my brother, I've got a brother who's 3 years younger than me, and he managed to get all of these like, they're like all-in-one sort of decks, almost like a controller type thing. They were like Murphy meters, I think they were called. And there's like 2 little turntable type things we could play your records on, and this little mixer type thing. But weren't the best, obviously. But that's what we started on, all that sort of stuff. So so it was playing a bit of drum and bass, and then we saw this Cool FM documentary, which was on around, I reckon about 94, 95, around that time. And we started like really, I was just obsessed with pirate radio from that moment of watching that. And so I was into the drum bass jungle kind of thing at that time, and then I was buying all these different tape packs, and then I bought a tape pack like Roasts, Valentine's 96 tape pack, and it had 6. There was usually about 8 tapes on every tape pack, and this one was 6 drum bass tapes, and it had 2 from Room 2, which were House and Garage, and it was Daryl B and Steve Flight, and I listened to them, and I was like, I like a bit of this. And I was just really intrigued. After that, I was like, this is what I really much preferred, that sort of soulful garage sound. And really from then on, I think, and then after that, I probably started hearing people like Paul Trouble Anderson, Bobby and Steve, Tough Jam, because they were all on Kiss FM at the time. So I was just used to record their shows every week, and then started shopping up like in the West Ends, like HMV Oxford Street, MASH, I think, as well, on Oxford Street. And then down into like Derby Street for like Uptown, Black Market, Release the Groove, even Flying Records as well, which I think was Dean Street as well. But and that was really where I started buying records, really, around those sort of times.
Back in the day when Soho was a place worth going to.
I used to love it. Honestly. I miss it.
It's mad you say it look like that because Ricky D was exactly the same. He was talking about it on his episode where like he was always into the jungle, but then in the other room, that room two was the
Mm,
beginning of that Sunday scene, and that is
yeah,
literally for a lot of people who like listen to Garage later on, they don't realize that that's where it was born. You know, it was room two music.
definitely.
It
Yeah,
was a lot of US house sped up, and you know, it
exactly.
was
Yeah,
that was the birth of it. And I think that's like when you go back to the roots of it and you listen to some of the earlier US house stuff, even people that have only ever really heard UK garage, when they go and listen to that, they're like, "Raw, this sounds like garage." It's like, no, this is literally,
yeah,
this is
exactly.
like the actual like the birth. Like, do you know what I mean? This is
Yeah,
the genesis or whatever of UK garage. Do you know what I mean?
that's it.
So
Definitely,
yeah, no,
definitely.
it's interesting that so many people from around the era got into the house and garage sound through that. So
I know.
obviously you said you were into pirate radio. Did you living out where you were? There was some big stations coming out of Essex and East London. Did you get into DJing and getting onto pirate radio, or did it take a little while for you?
Well, it took a while because I was like, so the garage scene when it was sort of 98, 99. I was 18, 19 at the time, and I was going out. I wasn't really going out to. I wasn't really DJing. I was buying records, but I weren't. I had a. I did. I think I bought my first Technics around 98. I was just basically a bedroom DJ, just having mates around, having a little mix up. My brother as well. He was more of a drum and bass DJ, but we used to have a little few mates around, have a mix up, that sort of thing. And then yeah, so basically, we about I think it must have been early 2000s. I can't remember who done it now. My brother though, he managed to get hold of a rig, right? But it was just some basic thing. I don't even know where he got it from. I can't remember, right? Got it cheap, about 20, 30 quid or something. And he was even more obsessed with pirate radios than me, I think, at the time. And he whacked up the aerial in my mum's house, right? So we had this flat roof, and you could get up onto the top roof. So we put the aerial up there, and we just started playing about with it, and started. I'd get out of my car and just try and lock into this frequency. I think it was 94.0, I think, at the time. And I was picking it up in the car, driving around Wickford and around Basildon and stuff like this. And see how far it went out. And yeah, it was just mental. And we started getting, we thought this was just started playing around with it. We started getting people coming around. And we had a few guests coming down from London. And my mum had no ideas. She still don't even know it's the estate. She had a radio station in her house. But and we started, yeah, basically did that for a few months. Just a bit, we had some drum bass on there, some garage, and a couple of mates come down and DJ as well. A few guests, obviously. And it went on for a little while. We were just always so paranoid about getting caught because we had there's no microwave link or anything like that. It's just really basic setup.
Yep.
We did that for a few months, I think. But then that was my first pirate radio station I went on to, funny enough. Because there was a few others. There was Charge FM, which was based in Basildon. There was Elite FM as well, which was quite a big station at the time. But yeah, after Logic, I had a bit of a taste for it. That was our own station. And then we both got onto Charge FM, and it went from there really. And then after that, Y2K, they had a station in London, didn't they? Up in Holloway.
Yeah, so yeah, originally they were like Camden, Holloway, that sort of area,
Yeah.
Cali Road, all around there. But then, yeah, obviously, as everyone knows, everyone who's seen the documentary knows that they ended up out in Southend. But yeah, they were in
Yeah,
Basildon
exactly.
for a
Yeah.
bit as well. I know that for a fact. So
Yeah. But we got I was on this, as I say, I was on Charge FM, and I heard about this station coming down, like Y2K. It's going to be Y2K Essex, and obviously it was Kidder and Beats. And went to a meeting down in Southend, and I thought, yeah, this sounds like it's going to be a big station. So I basically switched over there, and it was me and my brother as well was going back to back on the station at the time. We just did a show once a week. That was going on for a while. It was a good station, to be fair. It was doing all right. They had a few club nights going, stuff like that. So that was pretty decent.
so you didn't make it into a Tower Block Dreams documentary, no?
I never got on that. No. But funny enough, I was up on the few times I end up on the roof, like helping out, because sometimes I'd do like a midweek show, like a Wednesday or Thursday night. I'd be on there like 10 till 12. And at the end of the show, they would say, right, come help us come up on the roofs and take all the aerial down or whatever. But yeah, I've never got a documentary.
Yeah, no, definitely best avoided, mate. I don't think anyone came out too well on that. But yeah, no, I mean, it was a big station. Obviously the original version of it was bigger when it was in London. You had the Heartless Crew and everyone else.
Heartless Crew,
like
yeah.
that. But so no, you're talking like what, early 2000s, 102?
Yeah, probably 2002, I'd say, around that time, maybe 2003.
Yeah. So obviously around that time as well, something you might agree with me on, obviously the music changed. Did you
Did
find yourself kind of falling out of love with what garage had become? Because it had definitely
yeah,
moved away from the soulful 4/4 sound. You had, I love the grimier stuff when it changed, like when
yeah,
Wookie Storm and tunes like that, but
yeah, of course.
it wasn't what it was. Do you know what I mean? Did you find yourself going through a little bit of a change and moving
I
more over to
did, yeah.
soulful
I'll be
house?
honest. Yeah, I did. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I did buy some grime. I started some of the early, like some of the early stuff, like LB,
Yeah.
Jada Flex, all that sort of Ghost records, that sort of stuff. I bought quite a lot of that stuff, and then it started going a bit. And obviously, Wookiee tracks like Storm, Far East,
Yeah.
all those sort of tunes. I was buying all that stuff as well, which I didn't really like. It was really well produced as well. And some of the early grime I did buy for a little while, but then it weren't really for me, to be truthful. And there were still a few other tracks coming about from like Cole Brown and LB. Like, they were doing a few tracks together as well on Too Tough For You records. So buying a few of the 4/4 bits as well. But yeah, I thought it went a bit downhill, to be truthful. And I've always been into soulful house, US garage, that sort of sound from late 90s anyway. So I started buying a lot more soulful house around probably 2004, I'd say, around that time. So yeah, that's what started moving over to that. And yeah, luckily enough, I bought a lot of that stuff in the 90s anyway, like a lot of Masterwork, Kerry Chandler, loads, I don't know, Ron Trent, people like that.
Yeah, plenty of that stuff was crossover. Obviously, a big one would be MK, massive crossover artist.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, people always love to play Push the Feeling and talk about it as like some sort of UK garage classic.
yeah.
It's a house track. It's from America. But yeah, man. I mean, I was first on radio around 04, 05, and obviously garage had kind of died, but I still had such a big like garage music collection, and you know, myself, I was still playing it, but funnily enough, I met Sai Says on a station called World FM. He used to play on a Saturday afternoon, and he used to play like 2 sets after me. But I was such a Pirate Radio fanboy that I used to stay in the studio after my set on a Saturday afternoon, listen to the next DJ, and then after them, Cy would come in and do like a 6 to 8, and I used to sit and just chill with Cy, smoke weed on the sofa, and just listen to him play. And such an early influence for me, and he was playing like the early Dennis Ferrer stuff and Frank Roger, Quentin Harris, like all of that proper US stuff, and he was also playing a lot of Afro stuff. And a lot of stuff from UK producers, Fanatics, and so on and so forth. With all of the early stuff that they did. So yeah, for me, similar path, mate, getting straight into that US sound. An album that changed my life was probably Dennis Ferrer, The World As I See It.
Great album.
Yeah, what are some of your favorite records from that time? Because for me, I mean, Soulful House has never really gone away, but for me, that 04 to like 07, 08 time was incredible. What was it like for you?
Some great records then. Some of my favourite records around that time. I mean, I loved a lot of the Real Soul stuff. Some of his, I Get a Feeling on the Hustle Music. One of my favourites. One of my all-time favourites actually was a Kerry Chandler remix on the same label, Hustle Music, called Addicted. And he'd done a remix. I can't think of the vocalist now, but it was really good. So I was getting a lot of that stuff at the time, because around that time I moved into House FM, and one of the part owners of the station I think he owned half the label of Hustle Music, I think, as far as I know. So I was getting a few bits from that label anyway. But what else? I'm just trying to think. Some of the Frank Rogers stuff.
The people involved in House FM have had fingers in various different pies, quite famously for years. Like this, it's incredible how much he's actually gone and done, man. It's mad.
Another one, Frank Roger, Me, Myself, and I. Another great track around that. I think that was around 2005.
Absolute anthem. Party
John
anthem.
Cutler remix. The John Cutler remix as well, wasn't it? It's decent as well. They're both really good big tunes, but yeah.
Frank Roger, absolute levels. But yeah, no, Me, Myself, and I, fucking hell. What a tune that is. What a tune.
Yeah, no.
A couple of DJ friends of mine will be doing the gun fingers right now for that.
Yeah. Another one you've got to talk about, because you mentioned the album, Dennis Ferrer, the How Do I Let Go, Casey Brooks.
Yeah.
Another great record, that one.
Probably top 5, definitely top 10.
That's up there, isn't it? That's up there. I've still got both. I've got 2 double packs of that album still upstairs.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible album. You've got tracks on there, like you've got the other one, Run Free with KC Brooks. Underground Is My Home, Church Lady,
Yeah,
all of them tracks are just absolutely phenomenal, man. Peter the J obviously is another one. It's just
yeah,
like,
that's enough. Yeah,
oh my god, that is an absolute monster of a tune. Like you,
definitely.
and you know, nearly what we're 16, 17, 18 years on from it. You could play that in any house club now,
Oh yeah,
the place
100%.
would go bananas. Like it's just different gravy.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, you said you were on House FM. What sort of area was that based in around that time?
That was like sort of Hackney area,
Yeah.
around that way.
How long was you
Yeah,
on?
I was probably on there about 3 years because I went so I went on to Rinse FM before that. Then I moved over because I was more into moving to the soulful house kind of sound. I thought that'd be the better option for me to be on at the time. And yeah, so I was on there from probably early 2006 to about, yeah, I'd say about 2.5 years, you know, maybe towards the end of 2008, I was on there till.
Yeah, I was
And I used to
listening
do
quite religiously back then to either
this
House,
year.
Passion, or
Yeah,
Point Blank or Unknown. So at one
yeah.
point, I guarantee I would have heard you on there back in the day because I was like
Yeah,
24/7 tuned into them four stations, man.
yeah. That was a good station. It was a really good station. And I used to love it. So I used to do Sunday afternoons, like 2 till 4 p.m. in the
Beautiful,
afternoon.
beautiful time for soulful
Yeah,
house
and
music,
I
man.
called it the Vital Soul Sessions. And I was
Yeah.
just playing just proper soulful house music every week. And I used to love it.
Yeah, I was on Fat Beats
some good
around that
days.
time, and I did
Were ya?
Sundays. Yeah, I did Sundays 5 till 7, and I did. It was called the Weekend Wind Down. So it was just like
Okay, yeah.
pure soulful house for a Sunday evening, man.
Yeah, nice.
Eating your dinner. I mean, just plotting up, like
Yeah.
you just finished watching, you know, Super Sunday or whatever. It's just calm.
Yeah, nice.
So that was what would that have been 88.6 back then? So
It was, yeah, at the time, yeah, 88.6.
ever get into any grief through pirate radio? Any trouble? Get pulled off air?
No, do you know what? To be honest with you, I was quite lucky. I was always a little worried. In the back of my head, I was always a bit worried about I was always just worried about losing my record collection. That's
Mate, that's all it is.
Going back to when I
get nicked, fuck it. I don't care as long as I keep my records.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was ever worried about, losing my records. And no, I was quite lucky. I think it might have like gone off air a couple of times, like over the years. Like all of a sudden, do you know what I mean? You can know you've been taken off. But thankfully no studio race while I was in there, from a personal point of view. So I was lucky in that sense.
Talking of studios, what was the quality of the studio like? Because around that sort of time, like 2004, 2005, people started to really up their game with the quality of.
They did, yeah.
What was the setup like down the house? Because I know they've always been super professional anyway.
They were. It was really good actually. It was in a proper like a business unit type thing, and it was just it's a nice setup. What you want really.
Yeah.
So I've been in some proper dodgy setups over the years. So I've been on the stations I've mentioned. I've been on a lot more. Just thinking of just one show or just bits and pieces in someone's bedroom or someone's kitchen or do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. But going on the first, I think because I went on to Flavour FM as well around probably 2004, I reckon. And that was in East London, and that was my first experience of a really good studio, I'd say. And it was like in a porter cabin type thing.
Yeah.
And that was a really nice setup. And then after that, like Rinse, then House of FM, and they were all really professional. And that's why, like, after that, I didn't really want to go back on some of the Essex stations, to be honest, because it was just so much. It was a bit of a different level, to be truthful. I don't not being funny or anything, but it's a bit of a different level.
I don't know if you listened to the last episode, but Primetime was telling a story about when they had to go out to Effingham Junction in Surrey, and the studio was in like a grotty little porter cabin, and there were like goats walking around outside and everything. Like,
Really?
he said it was the maddest place. And I've got to shout out some of the guys over at Radio Next. There's a website called Radio Next where it's like a pirate radio forum, and people talk about all kinds of stuff, posting pictures of like old studios and whatnot. And someone listened to Primetime's episode and actually found a picture of the old studio, and they were like, I can absolutely 100% confirm that there were goats wandering around in that studio, like actual fucking farmyard animals, bruv.
No way.
So yeah, professional studios are definitely the way forward. But yeah, it took a long time for people to get there. How long was you on Rinse for? Just a brief period of time?
So I had 2 spells on there. I was on there from about 2005, probably early 2005, for about a year or so. But I was just that station I always wanted to get on, like, and I gave I had to did a demo tape, and I went to one of their I had a night in Romford, Pacific Edge, and I went down there. I think I'd been texting to the studio over the previous month or two, and it was Uncle Doug, funny enough, who was part of the management at the time, and he said, "Yeah, bring a like get us a tape or whatever." So did a tape, a bit of hosting on it, and then took it down to their night in Romford, gave them the tape, and then got a call about a week or so later saying I was getting a show. But my first show I was doing, it was like Friday night, Saturday morning, 3 a.m. till 5 a.m. So it's proper like graveyard shift. But I was just so happy to be on there. So I was going, going up there, going up into London to do it every week. And that was, loved it. And so I was pretty on, I'd say the first time around, they probably about a year. And then they moved me on to, after being on there for a couple of months, they put me on to 7 till 9 a.m. And I think at 9 to 11 after that in the mornings. But that's when I started, because I was, in the night, when I was doing the sort of graveyard shift, I was playing my garage stuff, which I still love. But then in the mornings, I thought, I'm going to start doing something a bit different and like keep it a bit more soulful early in the morning. So I started playing my soulful house stuff. And I think I probably was one of the first DJs to be sort of playing that sort of sound and rinse. But I did that for a little while. And then I was thinking, because it was more a lot of grime dubstep on there as well. I was thinking probably not the right station for me to be on, like long term. So I thought I'd try and basically I've gone to House FM because I thought it's more chance to get in bookings, that sort of thing, you know. So I moved on to thereafter. That was it.
Yeah, with Rinse, they were also very good at when they wanted to change up the style and change what they were doing. They had no problems with cutting DJs off.
Yeah,
So, you know what I mean? Like, because they it's why they've been so successful. They built a brand based on what music they were pushing at that time, whether it was grime, funky, dubstep, like even jungle and grime and stuff back in the day. Like, they knew that they'd get to a point where they could just get rid of as many people as they wanted, and they had a queue of DJs lining up. And they were all names.
To get on that station. I was desperate to get on that station over the years. I was lucky enough to play on there a couple of times. I went back on there actually, funny enough, after I'd left House FM, because I had a bit of a break after that, and then I think I changed jobs, and I was working in North London, so I thought I'd come down. I think I spoke to Genius, and he said he basically said I could come back on, and I started doing an evening show. I think it was 5 till 7 in the evenings, on like a Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was a Thursday. I did that. Probably only done that for about 6 months, but I was enjoying that as well. So I did that for a little while.
That's decent time, mate. Like 5 till 7's like, well, it's drive time technically, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a really good show. And again, playing more house. But then he started saying that, I know they were saying about, because I know when I listened to your podcast with BQ and about True FM.
Yep.
And they started saying about me moving over to there. So I went.
Not really the style for True FM, what you play. Maybe the garage stuff, but there wasn't, I don't know, there was a couple of DJs on there that would play a little bit of like the Head Candy sort of funky-ish house, you know what I mean? But there was never really...
sort of funky house, yeah.
Yeah, there was never really anyone on there that was playing like proper US, like deep soul, like that kind of vibe that we're into, do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the sort of stuff I play, obviously, like Real Soul, all that sort of stuff, like Sean McCabe, Fanatics, all that sort of stuff. But they were saying about me going on there. So I think I ended up going on to True FM, only briefly, to be truthful. I think I was on there only for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
I was doing like a Thursday night. I think I did 10 till 12 in the evening, in the night time. Did that for a while. But
busy station, but I just for me it's like, as I say, with Rinse, they knew a direction they were going in and what sort of music they were and weren't going to have on there. And for me, True wasn't really a station for soulful house. It was more your upfront sort of cheesy garage station more than anything else.
I weren't on there too long. I did. It was good. It was a really good station, to be fair. But I did a few shows on there, and then I kind of, by that time as well, because I sort of fallen out of love with it a little bit, because I weren't really like the records, like record shopping and that weren't the same when it was either. So I love, obviously things were switching over more digitally as well. So everyone was more on that CDJs, and which I do like, but for me, I much prefer vinyl. And I was starting, I'd sort of go, after that. I think I had a break after that actually from DJing. I didn't do pirate radio for a little while after that. Yeah,
but still, obviously, always collected music and play.
Oh yeah, of course.
So you mentioned it. Obviously, I said your vinyl collection's superb. Like the amount of tracks that you pull out and put up on your Instagram on a daily basis is absolutely insane. I love it. You could literally get lost on your Instagram for hours and hours and hours. Like I have to resist temptation sometimes, because you post so many tunes that I've got, but then you post, for every one you post that I've got, you post another one I've never heard or I haven't got. And I'm like, I have to resist the urge. Sometimes I'll be laying in bed at 10 o'clock at night and you'll have posted that and I'm like, oh my God, what is that tune? And I've got to get up and try try and find it online. And I'm like, no, stay in bed. Otherwise you'll be up till 2 a.m. on a deep dive, going down YouTube rabbit holes, trying to find remixes. And yeah, no, I can't do it to myself. But yeah, you know, obviously you've got a massive vinyl collection, and you mentioned there about switching over to digital. Like, was it something? Is it something you've kind of done? Have you backed up all of your records onto like MP3?
Nah,
Nah.
no, but I was, because I was playing like when I was on House of FM, I was downloading stuff in track source as well. So I've got quite a big collection stuff. I'm still got on my laptop, and also I've still got like about three CD wallets full of CDs from those days. So I've got loads of it still, and I haven't mixed on CDJs for about 10 years. But I did buy a pair at the time, and I had them for a little while, and I ended up selling them. But it's something that I'm probably going to go and buy at some point soon, to be truthful, because now I feel like I should do, really.
Yeah, you could just buy the USB ones, and like, yeah, we've got to use CDs anymore, have you? Or just a controller.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I've got so much stuff on CDs that I need to sort of get onto my laptop. You know what I mean? So I can put it onto USB or whatever.
Yeah, during that last lockdown, I actually managed to sit down and go through a load of old CD folders and rip a load of stuff that just been sat there from like 2011, 12, when everyone went from maybe CDs, maybe USBs to like just USBs. So yeah, I've managed to rip a load of stuff off a CD, and mate, I ain't gonna lie, it took fucking ages, but it didn't take as long.
Yeah, so that's the problem. It takes too long, doesn't it?
It didn't take as long as ripping vinyl does, because I've sat with one of my boys and tried to do that before, and it's just like, it's too much. It's great to listen to the tunes, but it's like, fuck me, if you're trying to rip an EP and it's got 4 tracks on there that are 7 minutes long each, it's half hour out of your day, and that's before you've even saved it and named it and everything else. So it's long.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't be bothered to be honest.
Never get around to it.
A few tracks over the years. I've done a few, but not too many.
It's good to rip. I think it's good to rip the rarest ones, just to make sure that you've got it in case.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? In case it ever gets warped or some tosser nicks it when you're out and about or whatever. You know, it's the ones that actually mean something, and like you would struggle. Like if you've got a decent white and you'd struggle to get it again, like it's always handy to have that backed up.
And some of those tracks, some of them never came out digitally either. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to nice to have a little backup on those ones.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff that you sit, and every now and again something will pop up on like a streaming site or a re-release on Traxsource, and I'll be like, oh, I forgot about that tune. I remember the white label back in the day, but it's so rare. As you say, there's some stuff that would just never ever get re-released, man. But
no.
If you were lucky enough to be there first time round, even to hear some of that music, to be lucky enough, like I don't go out much nowadays, but I see like videos and stuff from social media from the youth of today, shall we say, that go vegan, and I listen to the music and I think, in comparison, I know they probably think it's the bollocks, but for me, in comparison, from hearing it all for the first time, it's like, nah, that's dog shit. Like it's just, and that's no disrespect to any of the new producers, because there's a lot of good people out there, but and definitely not Soulful House, because Soulful House still has it's timeless music, in my opinion.
It is.
But yeah, some of the new stuff and the tech house and stuff, I listen to it and I'll just think, what in the fuck is this monotonous noise? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not for me at all. So yeah, I think we were lucky enough to be around for the first time when it all came out. So obviously you took your bit of a break. You know, what did you get up to in the in-between time? When did you sort of start getting back into DJing, and were you playing out over that time?
No, not really. I think from about 2009, I sort of just completely stopped, and I started doing the knowledge, like to be a London Black Cab driver.
Yep.
So basically, after that, I was so busy doing the knowledge, and I was working as well at the same time in my other job, and just didn't have time really. So I just did that for 3 years, and then started being a cab driver, and then starting a bit more time. I sort of set my decks up again, got it all out again. And just started playing, just started listening to my records, and I really started missing the music, like thinking about all these tunes and everything. So I hadn't bought records. This is probably about 4 or 5 years later, about 2014, 2015, I started getting my decks out again and like having a few mixes, that sort of thing, missing the music. And I started buying a few bits and pieces, just sort of like Juno records online, that sort of thing. And that was it really. I haven't played out or anything like that, no radio, anything like that. But just started getting a bit more into it, and then that's when I set up this Instagram page. I think around
House Garage Classics, right?
House Garage Classics. Yeah, I just thought, to be truthful, I'd seen a few other people doing it on there. And I just thought, you know what, it's quite not a bad idea. I thought I'll just have a little mess about, post up a few tunes and a bit of fun or whatever, and see how it goes, really. And but yeah, the more I did it, obviously the following starts building up a little bit. And just started getting back more into the DJing side of things, doing a few more mixes, that sort of thing. And then started getting a few more followers. And then, yeah, it's just gone from there, really.
It's interesting. I flicked all the way back through to the start of it today just to see.
Really, it's not the first ones.
Nah, but it's interesting to see the way you've maintained a particular angle and a style of the way you've done them. So it's almost like your own particular brand on the Instagram page. And I love the way you do the new ones where you put the actual like record in the background and it's there and it all looks pucker. How do you record everything? Is it just through the sound on the phone, or do you like record the audio and put it on it?
No, so what I do, originally, I literally just used to hold my phone and point it at the record, basically, try and get a decent angle.
Yeah, I saw the early ones.
Yeah, the sound quality is not good. But then I bought this thing called like an iRig, and you can plug it into the back of the mixer, basically in the output at the back of the mixer, straight into your phone, basically, and then do it that way. And that cost me like about 10 off eBay to do that. And that's the way that I was doing it for up till about 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And then I bought this thing called, you probably heard of it, the Ever Mix box.
Yep.
And I bought that, and that sound quality seemed a bit better on that. So I thought, get that, make it a little bit more, try and make it be as professional as I can anyway. And, obviously in the last year or so, I've changed the angle. Like, so I'd have you'd see other parts of my record collection in the background.
Yeah.
In the rack. So I thought that'd be another sort of thing to add to it, just to make it look a bit better, really. But,
it's pucker, mate. Honestly, as I say, I could spend hours on there just flicking through it and just getting completely and utterly gassed, and spending a week's wages on fucking trying to get hold of the same tune.
I get so many people saying that, so I get like a lot of messages saying, "No, back on Discogs or whatever." But they're always trying to see a lot of the tracks I've got or whatever, and they're going back on Discogs and buying them and all this sort of stuff. So probably costing people a bit of money, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm still buying. I still buy a lot of vinyl. There's stuff that I like. Like as I was saying about the old pirate tapes and some of the old tape packs. Some of the tracks on those tapes, I never used to have any idea what they were until like the last couple of years. Just from other people like UK Garage Classics. He's got a decent account on there as well.
Yeah,
and he posts up some stuff, and there'll be stuff on there he plays or other people as well. That I've never heard before. Well, sorry, I never knew the IDs before, and now obviously managed to track them down myself. So yeah, I'm always trying to get, especially after the sort of mid-90s, late 90s US garage stuff. That's what I love, like Tommy Musto, Victor Simon Ellie, Smack Productions. I love their stuff, all that sort of stuff. I'm always trying to sort of pick up. I'm always finding tracks that I've not heard before or didn't know the names of.
There's loads of stuff. Sometimes I'll hear stuff nowadays. It's like an edit of a tune I completely forgot. Like there was one that came out a couple of years ago, DJ Dove Illusions. There was a New York Stomp remix of it, and I vaguely remember hearing the original version like when I was a kid back in the 90s, and then they brought out this other version which is like a hard deep house version. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? And then it dawned on me I knew the tune from before. So, and then you go and listen to the other stuff by Dove, and you go and like you just end up on these, like, this is what I mean, bro. I can't.
He's made some good tunes over the years. I mean,
proper. But I can't sit there on your Instagram for too long because I'm just like rabbit hole, mate. It sucks me. When did you like start to notice that it was gaining traction and building up such a big following?
Well, I started getting some of the sort of DJs and producers that I've sort of idolised over the years. They started, because I'd always tag them in. Yeah. Sometimes they might like it if I was lucky. Yeah. I was just doing it, it's a bit of fun. But then some of them started following me and got a few, some of my favourite producers and that. And I started to think I've got something good here. And then, just as I say, as a following, I think especially during lockdown 2020, because I think where everyone was working from home or wherever, or furloughed, you had more time around. So I think my following grew a lot over that period of time because everyone's at home, And so I was posting pretty much, because I'm a black, as I said, I'm a black cab driver. So I weren't really working at the time because obviously there's no one about in London. So I had a lot of time on my hands at home. Well, I was a bit of a stay-at-home dad at the time because the missus was still working, but I was looking after the kids. But I had a lot of time to record records and buying a few bits and pieces on Discogs, but my following grew a lot over that period of time, I think. And I think that's probably one of the reasons it grew a lot quite quickly.
Yeah. But so you said you kind of started that around what, 2014, 15, that sort of time?
Well, I saw the Instagram page was pretty end of 2018, I think.
Oh, really? That
I'm
late?
doing it for just over 3 years now. Yeah,
Bloody
yeah.
hell, that's just decent
Yes.
numbers you got following you on there for 3 years, mate. That's not bad at
Yeah,
all.
2014 was when I was just playing records. You know what I mean? Just having a little mix up and that.
So did you get back more into DJing after that? Did you crack back on with clubs or radio or anything?
Well, I haven't. I'll be honest. I haven't done a lot. I've done a few radio shows, and I've got a few guest shows I've done it's probably the last year that things have started to have a little bit. Like, done a couple of bookings. I've just started a radio on the Garage House radio show. I don't know if you know that station.
I caught a little bit of it the other day. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, thanks. Yeah. I'm doing 12 till 2 p.m. on there, like bi-weekly, which is quite a nice station to be on. Done a few. I was on Project FM for a little while. Did a few shows on there.
Okay.
And a couple of other bookings. But this year, I'm hoping it's a year I want to try and take it to another level and try and get back out there, get playing out. That's the main thing, really. What I want to do now. I've got a couple of bookings coming up in April.
I saw you got back on Rinse FM for a show as well.
Oh, that was with Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a
superb DJ, man. What a fucking DJ!
He's a really good DJ. Yeah, I've known him quite a long time actually. And he was not. Yeah, I was lucky that he asked me to do a little guest mix for him.
Yeah, I saw clips of you playing out a couple months ago now. Actually, it looked quite decent. I think it was over in Hackney somewhere. It looked all right.
It was, yeah. That was for Danny Langan. He does a night at the Hackney Social. Yeah, he does it every few months, and he invited me down to play there, and that was good. It's really good night actually.
How's it feel that, like after so many years of loving off, the radio and everything else, that like now you seem to be getting these like really decent bookings where you can go and actually play the music that you love? And, obviously for a period of time there when you take time off and it kind of, the passion goes a little bit. Now it's back and everyone seems to be a little bit more buzzing now that lockdown's off and everything else. How does it feel for you to sort of be like, bloody hell, like, yeah, I'm kind of here again now. Like, how's this happened? Yeah. Kind of come around in a massive circle.
Yeah, I thought, it was good. I hope, as I say, this year I really want to try and get playing out like a lot more regularly. That's my main thing. Now I've got the radio. I've been wanting to do a radio show as well for a little while, which I'm doing, which I can do from home as well. So it's quite nice. It works quite well being on Garage House Radio and do it from home. But no, it feels good to be out. I want to get back out there. Really, that's the main thing. I've got a couple other bookings coming up, hopefully in April. One on Record Store Day, which is through To The Rock Records. They've got a nice little label. Going to be playing for them at a venue. I can't think what the venue's called now. It's down Hackley Road. It's on the 23rd of April. So I'm going to be doing that. And there's a couple other little things that should be coming up soon as well. Not 100% confirmed yet, but yeah. But yeah, it'd be good to get playing that music as well. That 90s house and garage. I just love that music. And I don't think it gets played enough. Do you know what I mean? So I feel that I'm always trying to dig out tunes that you don't hear that much. Do you know what I mean? Some of these little rare tracks and everything. So
forgotten gems. I think a lot of people a lot of people have it in their collection, and then they're like, I'm a bit of a musical snob. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, and like when you hear people like playing DJ sets, and 1 minute they're playing, some old school Todd Edwards, and the next minute they're playing Them Two Destiny. It's like, for me, it's like chalk and cheese. You know what I mean? I don't really want to hear them two in the same set. Someone like you, when I go into like, I've listened to your Mixcloud, or when I caught a bit of your show, it's like there's actual, it's consistent. Do you know what I mean? There's something there to listen to, and that's my favorite sort of DJ. Do you know what I mean? If I tune into someone for them 2 hours, like, not necessarily I know exactly what they're going to play, but I know that when I tune in, I hear the first tune, I know what that set's going to be like, and I'm there for it. Or I'm not there for it. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. But yeah, that's what I appreciate with DJs like yourself, like real connoisseurs. You know what I mean? That just know like how to actually play a set. And yeah, mate, long may that continue. And yeah, I hope you actually get a lot more bookings and a lot more recognition.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Mate, it's even just based on the graph that you've put in on the Instagram. Like, you're bringing hours and hours of joy to people from posting clips. So do you know what I mean? You deserve a little bit of love, as far as I'm concerned. In terms of the Instagram, how long does it take you to actually sit there and put these videos up and everything else. Because that's one thing for me is I'm bare impatient. So if something takes more than a minute,
Yeah,
when I sit and save this video on Zoom afterwards,
yeah,
it
yeah,
takes like an hour or so to convert, and I'm just like,
yeah.
fucking, do you know what I mean? And then I've got to like edit it and put it on YouTube. It's the one thing about this podcast I cannot stand is the editing
Yeah, yeah,
process. But
yeah. I can imagine.
but for you, have you got it down to like a quick sort of like process now where you can just go bang and it's done?
It's pretty quick and simple. So obviously you can only do 1 minute videos, 1 minute clips on Instagram. So I'll go up then. What I'll do sometimes, if I'll pretty usually do it in sort of batches. I'll go and record like 10, 15 tracks. I don't get time every day to do it. So
Yeah.
I'll record a load of different tracks. And then, because what I'll do is sometimes I'll just do one post, I'll post one record, and it'll be like, I don't know, like masterwork record or whatever. But then other times I do my thing called like, I'm doing it called like Sunday selections.
Yeah.
And I'll do like 5 or 6 tracks in one go, and then that'll just be a little selection of them. So it takes a bit longer to do that, depending on how much time I've got. But I'll try and record about probably 15 records in one go. And then I'll probably do that, say 3 times a week, maybe 4 times a week when I get time. Just want to get time really. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's a long process really in general. Probably spend about half hour at a time when I do it. And then just after that, I just decide which ones I'm going to post up. That's what I do really.
Out of all the people that you said you had a few people hit you up and give you likes now. Is there anyone who's actually like hit you up and you've sort of gone, fucking hell?
Well, one of my favourite producers, Tommy Muster, I spoke to him a couple of times on because when I post his stuff up, he's sometimes just says, "Oh, thanks for posting" or whatever, stuff like that. I'm trying to think. Top of my head. I spoke to Cole Brown a couple of times. There's a few others. I can't really remember that to be honest, but I've had a few just little ones like things like Louis Vega, not private message, but he's like liked things or commented stuff like that, or Kerry Chandler as well. He's liked a few of my when I put some of these tracks up, just stuff like that. Really,
it's pretty dope though, isn't it? It's like
it is because they're like your idols, aren't they? They're like proper legends, and you think bloody hell.
Yeah.
They're actually because as I say, it's just a bit of fun. I'll just do this. This my setup is in my son's bedroom because he's got. We live in like a 3-bed house, right? So I haven't even got a spare room for the deck. So I've got 2 kids, and so I'm in like my decks are set up in the corner of his bedroom, so they're out of the way a little bit. So he's still got a decent sized bedroom, but I'm in the corner. So I'm just doing it as a bit of fun. Really.
Listen, there's another DJ. I'll tell you who it is off air, but there's another DJ I've had on the podcast, and he's got exactly the same setup. So,
really?
Yeah.
I'm basically behind the door. As you go in, he's sort of bedding that's to the right. I'm just tucked behind the door.
Well, I think it's a common thing among DJs that have become dads. Is like their kids' bedrooms getting taken over at some point.
I need to set up I need to set up at some point. I want to set up a better, like proper like studio, like proper music room. Yeah. But got to try and sort that out at some point.
Do you know how many records you own and how much room do they actually take up? Because they're not, mate, in my yard, like I've got some of my records and I've got a lot of my mates' records here as well. And like those IKEA shelves, like the square ones.
Yeah.
We've got a 4x4 one of those in my home.
Have you really?
And it's just full up. It's just completely full up. So they take up fucking space. How much space does it take up in your gaff, especially with kids there as well?
Surprisingly, not as much as you think, because I'm right in the corner of the room. So I've actually got an IKEA storage unit. So I've got that's what you see when the records in the background.
Yeah, it's up there in the background.
I'll sort of try and put the camera so you catch 2 of the records in that. So I've got a load of records in there. Probably, I don't know, that probably holds about 500, 600 records, probably, I'm guessing. Underneath my setup, I've got loads of records underneath, and then some coming out as well. And then I've got like another little gap behind. So I don't know exactly. I'll reckon around 3,000-ish, I guess. But I used to have a lot more because I sold when I had that break from DJing, I sold loads on eBay at the time.
Yeah.
And I probably had more. I reckon I had I must have had another 1,000 or so that I've got just started to get rid of. I don't know what I'm gutted now. Because do you know what the problem is now is a lot of those records I sold, I'm now buying back.
Yeah.
Because I regret it and I'm paying more money for them as well. A lot of the UK stuff as well, the UK garage stuff. Like, like Underground Solution, like some of their tracks. I had a couple of them. I think, why did I sell them? And I'm like, I have to have them back now. And I'm paying like 30 quid for one. And I was pretty sold it for like a £5 or something, if that. Yeah. And I think, why? Like, we're talking like 15 or so years ago. So I've got a lot of regrets about some of the records I sold and end up buying a lot of them back now.
Yeah, I reckon. Do you reckon you've probably got some in there though that if you were to come upon a rainy day, you could flog for a good few hundred quid? I reckon everyone's got records in their collection. They don't even realize they're
Yeah,
worth an absolute fortune.
I don't know what my most valuable record is. I've got things like Cape Fear, like the KMA Productions
Yeah,
Cape
yeah,
Fear. I think that's about 80 quid or so. That's pretty worth, I'm guessing. Some of that Animal Mob stuff, I've got a few of them. I've got like like Set You Free.
yeah.
That
Some of the Antel Mob stuff is worth
yeah,
dough.
they got yeah. I've never got any of the confetti. I've never, like things like confetti doubles. I never ever got hold of them, and
Mm.
I can't pay the money for them now because they're like 200-300 quid, aren't they?
Yeah,
I just don't want to pay that money for them. But what's the other one? The green one, the Jack and Jill. Do you know what's it called?
yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? I can't.
Yeah,
It's the Animal Mob remix. That's
yeah.
probably worth a bit, I think.
Yeah, I think
I've got that's
I've got an MP3 of it, but I don't think we've got a record.
yeah, yeah. I've got that, and that's in really good condition.
Yeah.
Like, I would imagine that's worth a fair bit now.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, I'd say it's one of my more valuable ones. I'm guessing anyway.
Yeah, don't leave that one in your kid's bedroom, mate. You want to lock that
No,
away.
I don't. Yeah, it's out of the way. Some of my dub plates as well, because I've got a few dub plates from over the years, and they're always out of the way because I think don't want the kids getting hold of them.
Do you miss it? Do you actually miss going to record shops and that? Or do you still get to it? Because I know some places still have stock, but there's not really that many decent record shops about. Not for house and garage music. Like I know I've popped into Reckless in Soho a couple of times.
Yeah, I go there quite regularly still.
Yeah, they've got a couple bits in there. But yeah, it's not the same as going uptown or going Rhythm Division or down in South. We had a couple of decent ones. Like it's just, yeah, like and we used to go to like Banquet Records in Kingston. You could buy rave tickets there as well. Like they used to be like it used to be a proper little community thing. Like, do you miss it? Because for me, it's not. Yeah, going through stuff online is good because you can get lost, but it doesn't really like beat Saturday afternoon going down there. Like we used to go to like DNR in Croydon on a Saturday afternoon before we went radio, like just get whatever we could, even if it weren't like, even if it was saying old that we didn't have a copy of. Do you know what I mean? I remember going there and buying Feel My Love like on Solo, and
really?
Yeah, we didn't have a copy of it on vinyl. Me and my mate went there and he bought it, and I was like, "Fucking yes!" Like,
that got repressed, didn't it? On there, I think. They had a remix in it.
Yeah, it came out. There was a remix on one side of it that weren't all that, but then the original they put on the other. I think it's like a pink cover for Solo Records. But so we went and bought that and a couple of other bits. So we were just gassed to buy this really old record that we'd never actually had a copy of. So do you miss it as much as I do?
I miss it so much. Like I used to every Saturday. I'd be sometimes I'd just go up to Rhythm Division in Bow. I'd go up there sometimes. And that's when you had like Hermit and Daniel Ward in there quite a lot. They were in there quite a lot on Saturdays. I'd go to where I'm in Essex. I'd go Sound Zone Records as well in Basildon. That was a nice shop actually. Used to pick up quite a few bits. But my favourites, to be truthful, were like Soho, like Black Market, Uptown, then down to Release the Groove. I used to love going there. That was probably my favourite Release the Groove actually over the years. And then obviously like even like later years, like we were saying about the Soulful House, like the mid-2000s. They had that Vinyl Junkie shop down Berwick Street. Remember that place? Yep. That was a nice little shop. I used to pick up some good stuff in there as well. But over the years, I used to go up there a lot on Saturday afternoons, you know, most weeks, really. So I miss it a lot.
Yeah, it's a definite community thing, and it's like
it is.
I think it was a nicer way. I kind of missed the peak of it because I'm like a little bit younger than most, but like I whenever I went, it felt like more of a community thing than what we have nowadays with, or certainly during my time of like having to be at events and sort of like kiss people's asses on social media to try and like be friendly with people. And like, for me, the record shop culture was much more genuine than that bollocks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, definitely.
So for you, obviously, you know, talking, you mentioned there that you got some bookings coming up and the radio show. How are you feeling about, you know, being back in the clubs, and is it something you want to go out and just do more and be at more venues, or are you only really looking to go out and be there if you've got a purpose to be there? Because I know for me, you ain't getting me out of bed unless I'm getting paid, or unless, do you know what I mean? Unless it's worth going to. Like, I'm never going to go just to go.
No, of course.
How is it for you? Are you going to put a bit of time in and just go as a raver, or are you there strictly to just go and create the vibes?
Pretty more. I mean, I've been to a couple of nights recently, just as in the crowds. But yeah, I want to get back. DJing is the main thing. That's what I want to be playing out. You know, that's what because I feel like I should have done a lot more when I was younger. I feel like I should have done like the late 90s, early 2000s. I feel like I wish I'd have played out more. I didn't really put a lot of effort in then. You know, And now I'm like, I've got a real ready to sort of give it a proper go now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was you much of a raver back in the 2000s, or?
Yeah, I used to go out a lot, like every not so much London though. It's always that because we was lucky because we had a night called Cultural Vibes down at a place called Zeros in South End, and every Saturday you would have like Dream Team, Cole Brown, Matt Jam Lemon, EZ, and all the best garage DJs were playing every Saturday, and we'd go down there and every Saturday because we're 20 minutes away from us, you know, we're my mates, so we'd be down there every Saturday, and then in the week as well, we had a night. Pure Silk used to do a night as well at one of the other clubs in South End on a Thursday night. And you was getting like DJS and whatever guests they had coming down as well. So I was quite lucky with that. Like that's pretty 98 to about 2000 time. And then I used to go out in Romford a lot. You know, the 4x4 nights. I used to go to them like EZs and Tough Jam. Obviously Todd Edwards, MJ Cole, were all playing there. So I was lucky that there was a lot of the clubs up around my area. I was only about half an hour away from a lot of them. Yeah. So I did go to London as well. Don't get me wrong.
But then you also had Baz Vegas as well.
Baz Vegas, 10 minutes away from running now.
I went once. I went to someone, I can't remember who was DJing there, but when I was on Fat Beats, there was an MC called Stallion who used to come down and do some MCing. And I think, a little fella, and he used to, Ricky, I think his name was, and he used to, I think he used to host at that Baz Vegas. And we used to go to this venue down there, and I think it was like £25 to get in on a Sunday, but it was like free drink.
Oh that's pretty.
That was like
Diva. It was because the clubs were Icon. It was Icon and Diva, and the big club was Icon, and the little room was Diva. I bet it was that one.
I think it was.
I think it changed names over the years. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't a massive place, but it was like £25 to get in. Drinks were all free, and it was messy, man. But that was around 2008, 2009. I only went to once, maybe twice. It was enough for me, mate. You people do it different out there.
For you as well, though. If you're in London, obviously.
Well, my mate was driving, and then we just kind of crash in the car until we sobered up, and then just drive back. So on a Monday morning, bruv. Sometimes it's traffic, you know what I mean? It's not the one, but yeah, you lot are built different out there on them sides, man. It's it's a whole other world when you step outside the zone 6, mate. Trust me, it's a bit mad. So so in terms of the bookings and that, remind me again what you've got going on. So you said, was it To The Rock? Was that April?
That's April 21st. That's Record Store Day. So I'm doing that. That's actually just been announced tonight. He's done a little video on Instagram tonight.
I saw you post that actually before we came.
Yeah. So I'm doing that on the 23rd of April. I've got another thing, hopefully in Brick Lane at 93 Feet East in April as well. And there's another one. I'm trying to think the other date. The other one I got something towards the end of April as well. Can't think. But it's not. That one's not 100% confirmed yet, so can't really say where it is yet. But they're just
in terms of mixes and stuff like that. How often are you going to be putting out mixes on your Mixcloud? Because every time you posted one up, it's been decent. How often are they going to be going out?
I don't know because I've been doing the show because I've started doing a radio show now. I do the show every other week, so I've just been reposting that. I've just done a mix recently, which should hopefully be coming out very soon, like a 90s house and garage, 90s house and garage mix. So that should be out hopefully in the next week or two. So I haven't really got any structures to be truthful with that. I've got a few. I've had a couple of other people ask me to do guest mixes for them as well. So I'm going to do them. Wes Wint, I should be doing a mix for him soon as well for his radio show, hopefully.
Excellent.
Just stuff like that, really.
Shouts out to Wes Wint, podcast guest, old friend of mine.
Yeah, no, I listened, I've known him quite a while.
Yeah, man, no, Wes is a really good guy, and he's someone good to know. And he's got a show on My House Radio, which is obviously wicked, mate. It's good to see that you're doing a regular show for yourself and that as well. One thing I was going to ask, and I probably know the answer because I think you're probably similar to me in this regard, but production. Did you ever get into it? Would you want to get into it? Is it something that you might want to turn your attention to in the future, or is it something that you haven't really got time to be bothered with?
It's something that I've always wanted to do. I did give it a brief go when I was at Ritz. I bought a Mac, got a load of equipment, bought out his shop up in Romford Way, and just tried to have a go. I've got Logic. I just couldn't get my head around it, and I just couldn't get around it. I was really at that age as well. Probably didn't have the patience for it really. I just gave up on it, to be truthful with you. I gave it a bit of go, and I just thought it's not for me. But now I'm a bit older, I feel like I haven't got loads of time in my hands, but I want to try and give it a go. Hopefully, maybe this year. Just I was even thinking about just doing a studio course. Like you can do these like quick courses, can't you? To get a bit. I just need a bit of an understanding of like Logic, how it all works.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know what I'm doing, to be truthful. So, but it's something I've always wanted to get into, you know. So it's something I might think about at some point.
Yeah.
But I would love to, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's mate, for me, it's one of them things where we had a record label for a few years and put out some good tunes in it, and I executive produced a couple of bits, as in like people would send me their stems and I'd finish it off. But actually sitting there creating sounds and going through like the repetitiveness of hearing the same
really
fucking
time consuming.
yeah, like I'd sit in my house and like my mate Eamon, who like I was partnered with on the label, he could sit there and play the same piece of music 100 times over just to get a particular piece right. And I'm like, bro, I can't do this. Like I can't sit and hear that same build up and drop 100 times in a row just to see where the snare sounds better if you do this. Like, nah, leave me alone. I can't do it anymore. Like it's I lack the my missus reckons I've got ADD, but I don't know. Like I lack the focus to be able to sit and do that. I'm too much like, oh, what's that? Oh yeah, cool. I'm over there. Do you know what I mean? I can't do it, but yeah, I would have loved to have been able to take to it like some people have. Like I know, talking to Wes about it, and Wes seemed to take to it like a duck to water. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's making some good tracks, isn't he?
Yeah, really, really good stuff, and obviously getting a lot of attention in the right places, which is great. But yeah, no, I was always like, if you send me your tracks, like send me the stems, I can finish it off for you and arrange the music. No, I know what sounds good. I can mix it, not a problem. But actually sit and create from scratch, fuck all that, mate. It's far too
it's hard. It's really takes a lot of time, don't it?
Do you still listen to much pirate? I know there's not as much about nowadays, but a lot of pirates have obviously got streams online and everything else. You still listen to many shows on pirate radios?
Not a lot, to be truthful. Sometimes when I'm working, when I'm in the cab in London, I've had like Flex FM on, stuff like that before. Rinse still here and there. Depends who's on, really. A lot of times, to be truthful, I just listen back. I listen to a lot of stuff on Mixclouds.
Yeah.
So I'm just listening back to. It might be someone's show they've done like a day or two before, or whatever. I'm just listening back to their shows. But I don't really listen to that many radio stations at the minute. Like just mainly Mixclouds, SoundCloud, that sort of thing.
It ain't the same as it was. I mean, I remember, as I said to you, like I went through a period where it was House FM, Unknown FM, Passion, and Point Blank. Like for me, and I listened to a lot of True FM at that point. It was only Garage Station I really listened to, maybe a bit of Subjam. But like at that time, those four stations for me, there were DJs that I would religiously tune into, like Lady Jura in the morning, or
I used to listen to it all the time.
or Sai Says would do a Sunday on Unknown, and like, do you know what I mean? There was loads and loads and loads of proper DJs on them stations, like with Feel Good and Ram were on there.
Evo
and RST did a really good show on Passion. It was like religious points, but I think nowadays I couldn't tell you who's on a lot of different stations, you know, like it's not the same as it once was at all. Even the bigger internet stations, you know what I mean? I couldn't tell you who's on.
No, I know what you mean. But yeah, Lady Duracell, I used to listen to her every morning. Like she was always playing Soul House, wasn't she? So I'd be driving. Those days I was like a HGV driver. I'd be driving into London to do my deliveries. She'd be on quite early, so every morning I'd have it on. You know, listen to her. She plays some nice stuff as well.
Proper.
Feel Good and Ram as well. I used to listen to them a lot. They were good to listen to on the radio. They were always good.
Really good. And I mean, House FM always had great output, and they'd always, they'd always put out a lot of stuff. Even, you know, they'd have mixes that were syndicated from like Louis Vega and different people that they'd have on the station as well. So there was always good shit to listen to. Do you reckon you could name your favorite ever pirate radio station? Not to play on, maybe it is to play on, but in terms of like overall, what do you think would be your favorite or the best station you've ever heard?
Favorite station? It's so tough.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
So I'm going to say two, because I'm going to say one I didn't play on and one I did play on. So the one I didn't play on, which I loved, was always Pure Magic 90.2.
Yep.
Because that was East London, and I could get that. Like I could pick it up down my way sometimes if it was like, not always, but I could. And my nan and granddad lived near Romford Way as well, so we were staying up there for the weekend. Me and my brother would be like doing little tapes. We have like things like DJ Reaper, a few of the other DJs on there. We'd record them, listen back to it afterwards. But so that's probably my favourite. It's one of the ones I always liked. And I might even sign up on actually as well. London Underground's 89.4.
Oh wow, what a station!
Yeah. And I tried to get on that station, funny enough, because they had I think they had an advert in one of the magazines. This is probably towards like late, maybe 99, 2000. And I put in a demo to All Star Records on Mile End Road, and I never heard nothing back, to be truthful. But that was one of the stations. But I always loved the music they played on it. Although, like when they were on a bit earlier, it was a bit too. I wasn't really listening in like '96 around that time when they were sort of. But it was like the later years, probably. But as in terms of the stations I played on, I probably have to go House FM. As much as I love Rinse as well, but probably House FM just because I had a show on there for about 2.5, 3 years, and I played at a few of their nights, stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably my favourite.
Yeah. Definitely up there. But yeah, no, I mean, Pure Magic, like as I say, a lot of them stations, I could never get them down in Southwest. Like I was always like Flex, Flight, Delight, all them stations, whereas they never really got out your side. So it's good that so many of them sets have popped up now on big up the guys that Take Me Back Pirate Radio. Their YouTube channel is amazing for stuff like it's like the YouTube equivalent of your Instagram, like with regards.
Yeah, I do follow them there.
Yeah, they're podcast. I need to get them on. Actually, I've been meaning to get back to those guys for ages. So, and I know they listen to the show as well. So, big up them guys. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't want to say who's behind it because I kind of guessed from the names that they sent me on the email. But hopefully I can get at least one of them to come on at some point soon. But mate, thank you very much for coming on and shooting the shit tonight for a little bit. And yeah, man, long may things continue for you. I hope all the bookings keep coming your way and the radio show starts doing well and stuff, mate. Really do. Where can people? We've given it away already, but where can people follow you on the social media and check out this Instagram page I've been banging on about for the last hour?
Yeah, so it's at House Garage Classics on Instagram. Yeah. And obviously I've got my Garage House radio show, which I do bi-weekly, 12 till 2 p.m, which you have to listen to that through the MixLR app.
Yep. But you put all the links and that onto the
follow
Instagram anyway.
Follow Instagram, you get all the information from there. Yeah, and obviously I'm on Mixcloud as well, which I can't actually think of the exact my exact address for it, but yeah, you can get it all on my Instagram page.
I'll post a link in the description and all that.
Cheers.
Well, mate, once again, thank you so much for coming on, man. And
appreciate you inviting me, mate.
17,000 followers, and hopefully by the end of this year, it's another 17 on top of that, and just goes from strength to strength, mate. Fingers crossed for you.
No, thanks a lot, mate. And yeah, thanks for inviting me on. Love the podcast.
No worries, mate. Thank you so much for the support, bro. It's been appreciated. I love getting messages from people that say they've enjoyed the shows and that, especially people who I enjoy their content. You know, I'm not really one for reaching out to people and talking. Like, I'm not really like, I don't really put myself across to people. Do you know what I mean? So when people hit me up, I'm like, rah, someone's heard my show. I listen to them. That's fucking mad. So, mate, really appreciate you coming on, man.
No, thanks for inviting me.
Season 2, episode 10, special guest, the one and only DJ Vital. Don't forget to follow, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and get in touch with the show, the Over the Hill podcast at gmail.com. And yeah, links in the description below, links in the description on Spotify and iTunes and that, if you want to have a little link and look at the wonderful Instagram that is House Garage Classics, aka DJ Vital. But yeah, no idea is coming up on the next episode because I've not organized it because I'm a bit of a sloth for that. But yeah, stay safe, everyone. Peace out and take care.